right, so picture this. You've been working really hard on your research for years, right? Maybe even decades. Are you feeling like you've hit a bit of a ceiling, though?
Yeah.
Like you could do so much more with the right support, the right resources?
I think a lot of researchers probably feel that way sometimes.
Today, we're going to dive into something that might be the answer for you. Professorial opportunities, but not just anywhere, at Australian universities.
Okay.
We've got this awesome source, university professor jobs in Australia, and let me tell you, it paints a pretty amazing picture. What do you think?
I think it's safe to say that Australian universities have a reputation for, well, for really prioritizing research excellence.
That's what they say.
And that translates into some serious perks for professors.
Yeah, like what?
Well, I mean, we're talking good funding opportunities and access to some truly cutting-edge facilities.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, the source even mentions state-of-the-art laboratories and, get this, world-class research infrastructure.
Right.
But can you give me, like, a real-world example? I mean, what does that actually look like in action?
Sure. For example, you've got the Australian synchrotron in Melbourne.
Never heard it.
It's this massive facility that basically gives researchers access to super powerful X-ray beams.
Okay.
They use them for all sorts of scientific investigations. We're talking medicine, materials science, engineering, the whole 9 yards.
So they really can do cutting-edge research with this thing.
Oh, absolutely. And this kind of infrastructure, it's a magnet for top talent from all over the world.
I bet. Okay, but let's be real. Cutting-edge facilities don't exactly pay the bills, right?
True enough.
So the source also mentions these, and I quote, attractive remuneration packages.
Ah, yes.
Spill the tea.
Yeah.
How do Australian professor salaries actually stack up against other big research hubs?
So from the latest data, Australian professors, they're earning on average about 15% more than their counterparts in the UK
Wow.
and 8% more than those in Canada.
Okay, that's a noticeable difference.
It is. And, a lot of universities down under, they offer pretty generous startup packages, too,
Really?
especially for researchers in fields that are in high demand right now, like artificial intelligence or renewable energy.
Those are hot fields for sure.
These packages can include funding for equipment, lab space, even support staff.
Wow, they're really pulling out all the stops. It sounds like Australian universities are really serious about attracting and keeping the best academic talent.
They are.
But, okay, money isn't everything, right? What else makes Australia so appealing?
Well, one thing that stands out is their focus on collaboration and mentorship.
Interesting.
You see, Australian universities, they've got this strong network of research collaborations, domestically and internationally.
So they're not just working in isolation.
Right. So just as an example, I was involved in this project. It was funded by the Australian Research Council,
Okay.
and it brought together researchers from 3 different universities to study the impact of climate change on the Great Barrier Reef. This kind of environment, it's great for encouraging innovation, and it provides amazing mentorship opportunities for early career researchers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's not just about having the latest gadgets and equipment. It's about the people, the support system.
Exactly.
So the source also mentioned something about pathways to senior academic leadership. Can you break that down for us a bit? What does that look like in Australia?
You're right. Australian universities are awesome for research support, but, the competition, especially for professor positions, it can be pretty fierce.
Yeah, right.
To land a professorship, you need a strong publication record, a really solid research agenda, and, people need to see that you have leadership potential.
You need the whole package.
But once you get there, once you're a professor, there are very clear pathways for advancement.
Like what specifically?
Yeah.
And what skills are essential to actually succeed in those leadership roles?
Well, you could lead a research group, become a department chair, a dean, or even take on executive roles like deputy vice chancellor.
So there's a whole ladder to climb.
It depends on the position, but generally you'll need strategic thinking, communication skills, the ability to manage teams, build consensus, and to navigate the sometimes complex organizational structures.
Makes sense.
And a lot of universities actually offer leadership training programs specifically for professors to help them develop these skills.
So it's not enough to just be brilliant in your field. You also need to be a capable leader and manager.
It adds a whole new dimension to an academic career.
It does. And it sounds like Australian universities are doing what they can to support that.
They are.
So just to recap, what have we learned about professorship opportunities in Australia?
Well, we've got top-notch research facilities, competitive salaries and startup packages, a collaborative and supportive environment, and clear paths for leadership development.
Pretty enticing package.
For ambitious academics, yeah, it's a very attractive option.
It really is. So this makes me wonder, if you, dear listener, were offered a fully funded research project at a top Australian university, what burning question would you choose to explore, and why?
Just something to think about as you continue on your journey.
Yeah, something to ponder.
That's it for today. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And until next time, keep exploring.
Keep learning.